So we open this episode with the reveal that Felleray has been taken back to Fox and Vixen's Earth and is having his wounds treated by the latter of the two, and he then tells them about Badger's state, which, given how much internal bleeding's going on inside of him right now, he's probably going to sound like this.
Badger's safe! Oh, thank you, thank you!
Your friend won't be back for a while yet. His leg was broken, you know.
All the same, to think you came to tell us. You're part of the Oath now, Cat. From now on, we'll look after you.
I wouldn't count on him reciprocating that extension of the Oath. He does not look happy at all. Then again, that's what you'd expect when you've had 5-inch-long talons dug into your ribs.
I've already sampled your precious oath. Thank you very much.
May I offer my apologies? So embarrassing.
You meant well, Kestrel.
Not to me, she didn't. Ouch!
Sorry.
I know. Don't say it. You mean well, too.
Even when being treated nicely, he still acts like a dick. This is why he's such an awesome character to watch. Then again, the fox who probably ate a filthy stoat that she found rummaging around the bins just a couple of minutes ago is licking his wounds to heal them. So you can probably understand why he's so pissed off. So Fox and Vixen go off to find some food for them all, whilst Felleray is left with Mole, where he makes it quite clear that he intends to be bored to sleep by him. Not that that lasts long, since as soon as he pretends to go to sleep, Mole buggers off to find worms, and Ray does the same to go and return to Badger. How rude! There's just no sense of manners or polite presence in these woods anymore. I mean, I come out of my house and suddenly I see a fox turd on my doorstep. Foul, I tell you! At least I think it was a fox. Then again, I did hear a lot of human grunting last night.
Good hunting.
Not a thing.
You should do what we do. Lay up a store for emergencies. What use is it laying up stores when Weasel steals from them? We had a feast, but now we're hungry. Ow! What happened? The joke's on you, Weasel.
It certainly is on her. I mean, not to matter that you're throwing your only source of food back at her. No. She's the one who's the fool in this situation. And yes, I know that squirrels don't necessarily eat pine cones, but it's just funnier to think that that is what's happening.
And you can shut up! Call that sympathy?
No. I call it plain annoying.
Fox, I salute you.
I'm tired and I'm hungry and I'm on my way home when I hear this horrible din. So, I come to investigate, and what do I find? You. Now, can I give you a word of advice, Weasel? Instead of winding everybody else up, why don't you just wind down?
What's the cry about there? It's just friendly advice. I say that to my brother all the time. Right, Matthew?
Shut up.
He's cool. Well, that was unnecessarily brutal. I have to admit, I'm kind of sad to see Mama Vole go. She was kind of fun in her crankiness, and she was the only one who put her son into line at times. But, as is the way of Farthingwood, you lose relevance, you lose life. It's harsh, but hey, shit happens. But you know what is really tragic? The scene immediately afterwards. As much as I don't like Vole, he's still an actual character with a family member to care for, and the ways of the dominoes of deduction fall as this scene progresses really make it painful to watch.
Mother has disappeared.
Well, we are on Farthing land, so in theory she should be perfectly safe. Unless...
Unless what? Unless... Fox? Oh, no. I should never forgive myself. I should have made sure she came back with us. Now, Fox... Oh, I knew he was hungry, but... It does look bad. He was the last seen with her.
But you didn't actually see him do away with her.
No, but it all points to it. I ask you, brothers.
Far better ask Fox.
We then quickly move to the trial. Yes, trial of Fox being accused of eating Mrs. Vole, which, given Fox and all the animals' current situation, and really given Fox's reputation, it's not exactly a bad accusation.
In brief, Fox, I ask you, on the oath of Farthing Wood, did you or did you not eat my mother?
On the oath of Farthing Wood, no, I did not.
Well, I don't believe you.
Oh, what is the point?
Am I missing something?
Fox stands accused of devouring Mrs. Vole, Weasel.
Oh? How's that? I saw Scarface eating her.
I'm sorry, Fox.
Well, that was quick and convenient. If this was Law and Order, we'd just be sitting down by now. But in that regard, the animals do start to show desperation in this scene when Fox admits that he won't fight Scarface because he thinks he'll be making things worse if he does. Hi Pot, name's Kettle. The animals then start to lose faith in the oath, which is actually rather interesting in that regard. The idea of the foundation of a civilization collapsing beneath their feet. It's quite a dire and rather intense subject matter for this show to indulge, and will play into something 2 episodes later. Meanwhile, Badger's paw is healed up and he and Fellaray set off to meet up with the train again, though Fellaray decides to set back off to the hut in the campest way possible soon after. Seriously, I'm gonna make a gif of that one day.
They see me rolling, they hate it.
But it's good to see Badger, the victim of snow and ice, return triumphant. Or in other words,
the Iceman cometh.
Check that off the list, as well as any subscribers who prefer Batman Forever, and also open the gates for all the commenters who are going to say that I've already used Batman and Robin, but hey, who cares? But as Badger is walking back, he rather drastically has a change of heart about his living situation.
Poor Fox and Vixen. Poor Mole suffering this cold while I be better off in the warden's cottage. All of us.
Possibly. Until one of you eats his cat and then you keep shitting on his floor, then he'll quite literally be like, "Get your shitting out!" This is where some of Badger's more major character development starts to come in where he's starting to become slightly more curmudgeonly and bitter towards his lot, and even starts to snap towards his fellow animals. But it's understandable, he's experienced a more cushy and plush environment, and now he's got to go back to a harsh and hostile one, exacerbated by his age and how he seems to be getting a little bit more accident prone. Seriously, I don't know how he doesn't end up back in the warden's cottage after injuring himself again, though it does make his character come out in an interesting light that we've not seen him in before, and makes him a little bit more bitter and angry, but it's all for justifiable reasons, and everyone seems to be getting all the more tense as the situations get worse. So to see what was arguably the most friendly and kind character taken into the hardest and harshest is really quite interesting, and is completely understandable given the situations he's been through. A patient person can only be pushed so far. This is made apparent by his first scene back with the others in how he openly insults Kestrel.
Sorry, Kestrel attacked him.
Stupid bird.
And is less than warm in his attitudes towards Mole.
Fox and Vixen in.
Yes. Aren't you glad to see me?
You are tearing me apart, Badger! After that, we then move into another major bit of character development for another main character, where Weasel is now confronted by Scarface.
Eating mice, are you?
Yes. Want one?
Okay, I won't bite you.
Aren't they farthing wood mice? Tut, tut, tut.
No, they're not. And anyway, Mr. Scarface, sir, they died of a cold, so there. Which is more than I can say for the vole you ate.
Ah,
So you saw that, did you?
This really is starting to feel like a lost scene from a London gangster movie. All we need now is Jason Statham to come in and start shooting up the place.
So, what are you gonna do about it?
Nothing. I'm just making observation, that's all.
That's good, because if you had told anyone, Scarface would have killed you.
Okay, Mr. Scarface, please don't hurt me!
Mr. Scarface, please let me go!
And there's your nightmare fuel for tonight, kids. Seriously, with Scarface jumping at the camera and seeing Weasel in pain, it's pretty grim. This really is starting to look like a scene from Scarface now. So Scarface does eventually let her go, but on one condition.
Alright. On one condition.
You want a job, Ernie?
I want you to be my spy in the Farthing Wood camp. From now on, I want to know every move Fox makes. Got it?
I got ears, General. I hear things.
Well then, till next time.
So this starts off Weasel's part of the series, where she feels conflicted between staying loyal to the train and keeping herself alive whilst confronting Scarface. Which is a really great dynamic, particularly for Weasel, who, as we can see, is a little bit of a coward in the face of a threat that she knows is right in her face, and allows us to see her more of a kind person is morally in the actions that she has, and has an element of her character to those who don't like seeing her a little bit more worth watching now. Believe me, it won't be until the next series where every time Weasel appears you'll be hitting the fast forward button, but that's neither here nor there. After that, Measley comes over to help her.
Were you there all the time?
Shh! Yeah, I was. I saw everything.
Then why didn't you come and help me, you measly little twerp?
Because I'm a measly little twerp.
Oh!
You're lucky you were left alive. Can you move?
I feel sick!
Lean on me.
Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend.
We then cut over to Badger, who tries to convince the rest of the train to join him at the Warden's cottage. With the expected results.
You want us, all of us, to go and live in the Warden's cottage?
Yes, look at me. My fur's shiny. I'm well fed.
Not to say fat.
You could be like me.
The old fool's off his trolley.
We couldn't go and live in a house.
Not the birds, I'm afraid.
Ah, the cat. No.
Although imagine the tension in that situation, it'd be like Hitler trying to share a room with Churchill. Although why not Owl? What's he got against her? Or is the cat just anti-avian? After that, the train tries to let down Badger lightly with his proposition. Though Badger's grumpy nature then takes hold and he promptly acts like a dick to them.
What do you say, Fox?
I say you should go home and get some sleep. You'll feel better in the morning.
Oh, I see. You think I'm rambling, do you? Sure. I don't know why I bothered. Could have stayed in the warmth, food before me. Well, that'll teach me to think of my so-called friends. Didn't even come to meet me.
But we didn't know you were coming. Badger, where are you going?
Home, like Fox said, to the Warden's house.
Oh, now Badger, that is really not cricket. Actually, this ties into a rather tragic moment later in the series, though it also comes in part to the particularly terrible character development that Mole gets, but we'll get to see that in a couple of episodes later. So Badger heads off, mumbling and grumbling as to be expected, and so he then tries to go back to the Warden's cottage, with surprisingly even less successful results. I don't know why, but seeing Badger constantly just shoved out of the warden's home and being treated like a little kid, it's really quite funny to see, especially considering after what he's just done too. Oh, and then Ray comes out to rub salt in his wounds.
What do you want? Are you sick again?
No. I've come home.
You're a wild animal. You don't belong here.
You manage?
My kind have learned to purr and rub against the man's legs over generations. Could you learn overnight?
But you're my friend. You could teach me.
Oh, go home, you stupid creature.
That's the story of my life. No respect. I don't get no respect at all. You come up to no respect at all.
After his denial, Kestrel shows up to comfort Badger, but the music and Ray's movements make me think he's about to try and do something nasty. Or mimic the Lion King.
Don't blame yourself. It must be confusing. Tame 1 minute, wild the next. And then the sudden shock of the cold.
I do hope Cat's all right.
Gee, I don't know. Why don't you go and ask him whilst the vet tries to staple his stomach back together? Also, don't care about how Kestrel is, you selfish twat. Anyway, Kestrel comes to tell the others about Badger saving her, who then promptly shows up, after having come full circle symbolism in how he doesn't fall off the cliff. Though why he thought it was a good idea to go up there in the first place is beyond me. Badger then comes back to a triumphant return, and it's nice to see things resolved. Even if he didn't actually apologise to Mole at any point, but you can't have everything. And then Badger gives Fox another idea.
I've had an idea, Fox.
Oh, yes?
Oh, no. Different idea altogether, Fox. Much better. Now, remember how we scavenged from the humans when we were on our way here? We could do it again. Raid people's gardens, dustbins and so on. Scarface wouldn't be able to object. We wouldn't be on his land, would we?
As always, this is a good idea. Scavenge, the true centre of how to survive. Take what you can, give nothing back. So the animals act on Badger's plan, with morbidly successful results. Okay, they're technically not Farthing Woodlot, but they are still bodies to be counted, so on the counter they go. Oh, and as expected, Scarface acts in a typical nonchalant mood to seeing his own son and daughter die.
That miserable fox got my chickens.
Proud parent to be sure, right there. Even Bambi's dad is going, dude, have some bloody compassion. Okay, that's a little harsh. He does seem to take exception to this regardless.
My poor babies.
I'll get back at him. Don't you worry, my lady. And as for that two-faced little weasel...
You short a couple of mil, I go on the street for you. I make a couple of moves. A mil here, a mil there. You got it.
Well, this episode was certainly an eventful one, and it definitely developed in one way or another, either to future events or to previous ones. Badger's character development and behaviour in this episode, while somewhat sporadic, is really interesting to see, if just for him to completely turn face in how his character is, and for there to be a legitimate reason for it. He's had hardships and he's been able to escape them for a bit, only to be thrown back into it naked and unvarnished. We've all had situations like this. It does make this character change understandable as well as shocking, especially when you're a kid who's gone through an entire series with this character and he's the nicest person in the world, and then to see him act like this, it's quite a sty stirrer, even if it doesn't last very long, but it's always nice to see him back to a normal again by the end. Another somewhat shocking element is the treatment of Weasel, in that she is often seen as better off in almost any dangerous situation, and even when she gets hurt, she'll often be back up on her feet in no time and just get a rather comedic retribution. Here, though, you can tell that she was in real legit pain, and the blood really hammers it in that regard, and allows her to enter into a really good double agent role, which will dominate the majority of this part of the series. Of course, the obvious solution, that being tell Fox, is never actually brought up, but like she said, she feels like she isn't appreciated by the others, so she feels like she has no one to turn to, except for a creep who just follows around aimlessly, so yeah, she is in a bit of a predicament. The feel of cabin fever is also around in this episode, and will come into play in the next one too, in that the animals are desperate and have little way of hope or resources, and they don't really know what to do. And it makes us root for them again, and makes it all the more satisfying when they do manage to work something out, though attracting the attention of enemies along the way. Overall, an enjoyable episode that I definitely recommend, but next episode we're really going to be skating on thin ice.
And now for something completely different.